we are going to look at using decomposing to multiply. The word decomposing means break it down. So when we're thinking about breaking down a factor, remember to think about expanded form. So let's look at our first problem. Let's say we have 25 times 5. I'm going to break 25 or decompose it into 20 plus 5. This allows me to solve 20 times 5. And when thinking about 20 times 5, I can remember that I just focus on this digit, the 2, and the 5. 2 times 5 makes 10, and then I add my 0 back to it, so 20 times 5 is 100. Then I take my other part, which is 5, and multiply it by 5, which gives me 25. The final step to decomposing is to add the numbers together. 0 plus 5 makes 5, 0 plus 2 makes 2, and then we bring down the 1. So 125 is the product for 25 times 5. Another example, if we have 374 times 3, we're going to put 374 into expanded form, so this allows us to decompose it. 300 plus 70 plus 4. So to solve this, we do 300 times 3, 70 times 3, and then 4 times 3. I'm going to start with 300 times 3. Remember, you can focus on the 3 and this 3, which give me 9, and I have 2 zeros, so I add 2 zeros. Then I have 70 times 3, so I focus on the 3 and the 7. 3 times 7 makes 21, and I add 1 0 to the back, gives me 210. And then finally, 3 times 4 makes 12. So I'm going to add all my numbers up, being careful that I make sure I line up what I have. My 1's placed, I have a 0, and a 2. That makes 2. My 10's place, I have a 0, a 1, and a 1. That makes 2. And then I add my 9 and my 2 that are in my hundreds place, make 11, meaning 1,122. So 374 times 3, the product is 1,122. Let's look at one more example. We have 1,234 times 6. We need to start by decomposing the 1,234. If we decompose this number, what would it be? That's correct. 1,000 plus 200 plus 30 plus 4. Then I'm going to write it out step by step. 1,000 times 6, then 200 times 6, then 30 times 6, and then 4 times 6. We start by multiplying 6 times 1,000, but we don't need to focus on the whole 1,000. We only focus on the 1. 6 times 1 is 6. And how many zeros do I have? That's correct, I have 3 zeros. So I add 3 zeros. Gives me 6,000. Then we're going to do 6 times 200. 6 times 2 makes, that's correct, makes 12. Then we have how many zeros? We have 2 zeros, which makes 1,200. Then we're going to do 6 times 30. We focus on the 3. 6 times 3 is 18. And how many zeros do I have? 1 0, so 1 0. And then finally we do 6 times 4, which makes 24. And the final step is to add all of these together. While this looks very intimidating, it is actually easier to solve. Start by adding your ones place. So 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 4 makes 4. Then you're going to add your tens place. 0 plus 0 plus 8 plus 2, which is really just 8 plus 2, makes 10. Put my 0 on the bottom, carry my 1 up. Then I'm going to add my hundreds place. 1 plus 0 plus 2 plus 1, which is really just 1 plus 2 plus 1, makes 4. And then finally I add my thousands place, which is 6 plus 1, so 7. 7,404. So the product would be 7,404.